could allow because things are so expensive. You couldn't put a successful TV ad or radio ad or even newspaper back when those things were still relevant. You couldn't really put that out there and be successful at it unless you had the deep pockets to go along with it.
Right.
This stuff is completely free. Sure, Google and Facebook and all these other, platforms and these companies are trying to monetize things as much as they can, so you don't get the maximum benefit out of YouTube or Facebook. I don't know if Instagram does paid ads now. I'm not sure.
I know people be paying to put their stuff on.
To put, yeah. But in terms of the actual social media, yeah.
I don't think so.
Or rather, you put money into some kind of tool on Instagram, and because you're paying for it, it blasts your stuff out to a greater audience than it would otherwise.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Okay, so yeah, like you maximize your exposure by doing stuff like that. But we've seen a lot, like the dude who impersonates the NBA players with their shots and their stuff like that.
Yeah.
He I saw him on Sports Nation.
Yeah.
After just making random YouTube videos and putting them on YouTube. So we've seen that you can still, if you're consistent and you've got the mind for it, you can be successful using these platforms with no money. And that's where the concept of the guerrilla marketing comes in, because someone who is Tyrese, because of his namesake alone, he can put out YouTube videos and get them put on World Star, and they will go viral, and he will get maximum exposure because he's a famous individual.
Right.
So he doesn't even have to consider spending the money on YouTube in order for a whole lot of people to see what it is that he's doing. So if he were to subliminally start to marketplace whatever it is that he's doing, we don't know whether it's a movie. It can be anything, man. Like what I was saying, he had the little jacket on. I don't know what that logo is. He's cooking stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 months down the line, we'll see a Tyrese cooking line. He's been beefing with The Rock. That, I believe, is also staged.
Oh.
So maybe we will see in about 6 months there's a Tyrese Dwayne Johnson movie. Who knows?
Well, and let me just pause you right there, because that whole Rock thing. At first, I thought it was cute. I was like, hey, look, the Fast and Furious people are fighting amongst each other for the fans.
Right.
When I was reading the comments, the fans were eating it up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just fans of The Rock or fans of the series was just eating this shit up. This is jokes. And I was like, all right. And it was clearly promotion for his album. So I was like, oh, all right. You know what I'm saying? Y'all do y'all thing.
Yes.
So I ain't see nothing about it. But then it got real. then they're really like beefing with each other. Then Rock and Tyrese are really going at it. And I'm like, no, they're not.
They're not. No.
The Rock is a professional actor.
Thespian.
Yes. He's a thespian. And so when you do WWE type acting where you're literally bashing the next person's head in, but you're not.
Right.
That's the premium of acting. So what is it the words? Him calling him a candy ass or whatever. It's just another promo. I was like, good promo, Rock. So then I was like, all right, so that's what this whole little thing is. Tyrese is out here and they just trolling us for Tyrese's album. This may still be some play for his album because it just came out not too long ago. So this may add to Spotify spins and all of that shit.
There is no telling, man. I guarantee you there is a spike in all things Tyrese since this started.
So, and I'm gonna tell you like this. So I've read Tyrese is doing a trend that I've noticed with the Kardashians do for sure. We don't even need to talk about how they perfected it of just living acting. But also Soulja Boy, also Bow Wow. It's a way of being relevant, and it's just really getting out there and just doing the most outrageous. So you could be on Shade Room. So you could be on Baller Alert.
Vlad TV.
Yeah. And then you're the topic because you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
So they found in this guerrilla marketing, they found a little lane to where if a celebrity is having a moment, the world is paying attention to it. And so Tyrese, it looks like he's a willing participant in this breakdown. That's why it doesn't look like a real breakdown.
Well,
it looks to me as though he's not this mentally unstable.
Yeah.
And so the same thing with Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy's not that stupid.
Right.
And so he's a proponent of all publicity is good publicity. Any publicity is good publicity. And so I'm pretty sure if I had some type of metric system to check these guys either play counts, view counts, and follow counts, and all this other shit, it's peaking at these points of attention, whether positive or negative. And so this is why I feel like this whole quote unquote thing, it's funny.
Yeah, it really is.
That's why I don't mind laughing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he's trying to play me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. But what do you make of that though? Like, what this attention seeking? It's kind of like a chicken or the egg thing. The way I think of it, has the internet created this attention seeking culture that we have now wholly embraced because we are now monetarily supporting attention seeking.
Right.
It's why women can now make a career out of themselves and make a very, very good living just being physically attractive. There's no talent inherent in what they're doing. They just look good. And so they take some photos, they get on Instagram, they're consistent with it, but they get immediate gratification. And when you get that immediate gratification, it becomes easier to stay consistent. And so they post photos on Instagram. Next thing you know, they're hosting club parties and they're doing photo shoots and they're in magazines. Now they have a career off of what essentially started as attention seeking. That's no shade, it's just the facts.
Right.
That's just the way it is. You know, a lot of people like to hate on IG models, say that they're not really models, which is true, but it is what it is. If it didn't work, then they wouldn't get famous and get money. So who's the fool? Them or us? Right. But there's this culture of attention seeking that we have wholly embraced, where these guys now, Tyrese, Bow Wow, people who you've mentioned, said, I don't give a shit. I'm going to get on the camera and make an ass out of myself because it is going to I am going to get a positive return on my investment at the end of the day. And that's really all that counts.
You're going to get a TV show out of this. You're going to get
something. You'll be on VH1 in no time.
Yeah, you'll get something out of this. And that's what, and so you'll see some dead celebrities, if you will, play themselves up and start doing antics so they could be on shows to be talkable. Because there's nothing to talk about. You're gone. And so but as far as the whole attention seeking thing this is a monster that was created before social media. It was just that social media just gave everybody
It gave it the fuel.
They gave people a goddamn camera.
Yeah.
And so there's always been the person who is willing to do whatever it takes. It's just that those people have cameras now.
Yeah.
And so you'll see people doing pranks in public stores. And people are following these accounts. And people are doing all of this stuff. But they're pranking people. They're destroying the store that employees got to clean up.
Yeah.
And they think it's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's real people got to clean that up.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
And so my whole thing is like, hey, man, this ain't cool. That ain't funny. Toilet paper wars. You know what I'm saying? So my whole thing is that this attention-seeking thing was something that's been created by this thing called fame.
Yeah.
And this fame thing has been a bug that's been in everybody's mind, not everybody, but in the back of a lot of people's mind, ever since they've been watching TV when it was black and white. So now that there's this thing where, but in the middle of all of that, media has been giving us what entertainment's been.
Yeah.
And so entertainment has been always falling over the chair, making fun of other people, they're either what they born with or whatever. All types of stuff.
Right.
And so now you'll see that people's brand of comedy is thrashing the next person. You know what I'm saying? Just completely being savage. And so so this whole thing, man, this wave of now that we're witnessing is actually the byproduct or the child of 90s, 80s television.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the only thing because the parents that were watching 80s and 90s television are raising these kids. And so and honestly, these are the people that was watching the TV. They're the ones that's got the accounts. They're the grown-ups at this point. They're the adults who are making these skits that ain't funny no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, these shits ain't funny, bro.
Yeah.
So
you feel it's like a generational thing.
What we're experiencing, bro, is we're experiencing. This is the first time humanity has ever had anything like this, as far as we're concerned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, this is an open experiment that we're watching of humanity and the characteristics of humanity. And what we're seeing right now is the underbelly, the nastiness of it. Because you'll see people's accounts. You'll see it again. There's some girls on. There's a other side of IG. Or girls are really just doing. You know, they're doing a back page basically.
Yeah.
And they're posing nude, but they still ain't getting likes.
Man, the proliferation of attention seeking is something to behold, because, and you have to wonder. When those guys were, like, for example, when they were creating Facebook, Zuckerberg and all those boys, when they were creating Facebook, they genuinely felt as though they were creating something that would be beneficial to the world. And in many ways, it has been. But there's no way that they could foresee the drawbacks that their creation would create.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no way that they would know, okay, people are going to use Facebook Live to kill people.
Right.
You don't know that these things are going to happen. And so this underbelly that you speak of, these are like some of the unintended consequences, because there's no way that you can know going in that it's going to create some of these different dynamics that are less desirable than others. And so from that standpoint, I'm reticent to just sort of get in front of a camera and just, you know, engage in righteous indignation and say that everything is the blame for social media. Because some of this is on us. A lot of this is on us. If we don't like it so much, then we wouldn't support it. And if it didn't get support, it would cease to exist.
Right.
It's very simple.
Right.
Clearly, because whatever Tyrese is doing is going to work. It is working.
It is.
Whatever any of these other people are doing on these networks and stuff, it is going to work. It proves that it's being supported, which proves that we do want it. There is a perverse nature within all of us as human beings that relishes this sort of behavior. We like to see it unfold before our very eyes.
Yeah, I mean, but again, these are traits that are available within humanity, but they aren't inherent. That's not the rule.
Yeah.
It's either or, because there's some people who don't feel that way. And so at that point, life is 50-50.
They're the stark minority, though.
But understandable. But for whatever reason. But where I'm getting at is that